And so,
Hello.
Claire,
Okay,
I don't know
so
if you had already
can
said about a speaker mode or not.
yes, please go to speaker mode instead of gallery mode, speaker view instead of gallery view, and mute yourselves. And we can get started. So thank you so much for being here. My name is Claire Rollins, and I'm one of the faculty advisors for Bravura, Palomar's Arts and Literary Journal. And my co-host, Stacy Trujillo, my fellow faculty advisor. And we'll introduce to you Bravura and this gala, and then we'll hear from the talented artists and writers who we're featuring in this year's issue. We're so proud of the issue this year, and we're delighted we get to share it in this gala format. And we all can't be there in person, but Zoom is the next best thing, so thank you. And I'm hoping that this is a historic Bravura because I hope that it's the last pandemic issue. I kind of think of Bravura 2020, Bravura 2021, and Bravura 2022 as the three pandemic issues. And I hope that they remain a trio and that next year we'll be past it. But that kind of makes these fun limited edition pandemic era issues. And so I have to say that producing a literary and arts magazine during a pandemic in a way is something special. Because a lot of college campuses, it's hard to maintain community right now. It's hard to have continuity during the pandemic. And so I've been so excited that we could still issue the 2020, 2021, and 2022. And as you'll see from our artists, Palomar students and local high school students have really taken on this challenge of still producing amazing art and stories and images that take on what it's like to live through a pandemic. So welcome to what I hope is the last pandemic issue of Bravura. And now's my moment to just say that being the faculty advisor for Bravura is a complete dream come true. I'm a total addict of reading. And so I get to produce what I love the most. And I'm especially proud of this issue because we have managed to bring it all together during yet again another year of the pandemic. And hopefully we're producing art and literature that will help people get through tough times. And so with that, let me just say we're so proud of this issue. We're excited to get started. And thank you again for joining us today. And the very first person that we're going to spotlight is the artist who created the cover.
This is just a couple quick interjections here about I mean, I co-sign with everything Claire was saying, particularly about the pandemic editions of the journal. And on that note, we are still, as always, so thankful to the President's Associates for continuing to fund a print copy of the journal, even though we've been remote, and we will have the print version on campus next week. So we will send out an announcement. Supply chain issues have made one more thing more challenging, and that caused a little bit of delay with getting the copies delivered, but they will be delivered during week 16. I can't promise the exact date because they've told me two different ones and I don't want to overpromise there. So we will send out another announcement about that, and would love to see people kind of in a mini COVID safe outdoors distribution or gala part 2. So more on that later. This is the beautiful full cover, and we will talk more about the cover, as I was about to say, here in a second. But we what was I trying to say? We are also very happy to announce that due to the generous funding, again, from the President's Associates, we are once again able to provide financial awards along with the distinction of being an award winner within the journal. And so for first, second, third place and our high school winners, we are able to provide that. So that's exciting. And obviously we will follow up with you guys more about the details of that part as my throat goes out. So once again, and thank you all to the foundation and thank you for the college and the support that we've gotten from our department. Still, again, seeing Bravura as a valuable thing and something that we produce and is really still unique among, not to be Palomar-centric bragging, but it really is a unique thing among a lot of community colleges. Other ones, there are other literary journals out there, but we're one of the few ones that are done in a class, English 137, and the students are, along with Claire and I, we put together this journal, reviewing submissions, promoting it, getting this thing set up where I'm failing a little bit at tech, but you know, such is life. We're really proud of that, and also of the community and the campus that's really been supportive of us this whole time. So, all right, well, enough there, since this isn't about me or Claire. This is about the a few highlights from the journal. And oh, one last point. Of course, we can't cover everything in the virtual Gala format. So please refer to, we'll continue to update the website and our social media. We hope that you will continue to see lots of other additional content as it comes out. So now I'm done. We would, as I said, this is the cover. And so what we would like to transition into is the cover contest winner, that, as I'm looking here, Martha, Martha, have your video on, right?
Yes, hello.
Oh, where'd you go? You know, everything like, yay, there we go. We got to 80, Claire. And so it's a little, this is a longer scroll than in practice, but it's like, lovely. Geez. I mean, I'm not criticizing the good attendance. It's just three more pages to scroll.
Oh, I already, Martha's spotlighted.
You got it? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm on it. I got you.
Thank you, Claire. And so Martha's cover, obviously, as we see here, is fabulous. And we would like to hear more about that from Martha. So.
Hey, thank you. I prepared a little bit of kind of what inspired this. So at the start of 2020, when many facets of life were placed in jeopardy, including the arts, the English National Ballet shared a series of recordings of their performances, along them pieces from a series showcasing female choreographers titled Broken Wings, which depicted the life and experiences of the influential 20th century artist Frida Kahlo, and eventually led to the creation of this cover. With her beautiful paintings, often self-portraits filled with color, nature, and tributes to Mexican culture, her work remains an inspiration to the artists of today across all forms and mediums, but they especially resonate because of the strong and honest expression imbued in her work, as they were an outlet for the very real and painful experiences throughout her life. She first took up painting after a bus accident left her injured and in chronic pain for the rest of her life, and she also suffered a turbulent marriage, a painful miscarriage, homesickness for her country, and dealt with her identity, dual heritage, and finding her place in a changing world. She also documented her struggles in a visual diary, which is the original source for the title Broken Wings, or Alas Rotas. But through her painting, she was able to bring to life her experiences as artistic expressions that continue to inspire many today, including this piece. To create through hardships, to use the arts as a bold expression of identity, or even simply to bring some beauty and light into a dark world, that is what it means to me to create a daring display of artistry, or in other words, bravura. Thank you.
That was beautiful, and a beautiful explanation of a beautiful cover. And it's thank you very much for that. We have the title page of the journal coming up next. And we can spotlight Patrick once you put your camera on, my dear. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to start introducing Patrick before he appears. And thank you, Martha. Oh my God, I could hear you were going to work the word bravura into it. And I got so excited because I love the title of our journal. And such a wonderful cover. I'm verklempt. But now I want to talk about the brilliant Patrick Brennan, who we call Saint Patrick. He's the patron saint of bravura. He was an editor in 2018, and I believe did the layout of the 2018 version, right? And then he wasn't even in the class, and he did the layout for the 2019 version. So you can see why we call him St. Patrick. And then the world whisked him away to Cal State Long Beach, but now he's back, and he's a Renaissance man. And he's going to tell us a little bit about the title page, which is called Found Objects. So Patrick, take it away.
Thank you so much, Claire. And thank you so much for having me and accepting this into the journal. It's always a huge honor to be a part of it. Yeah, to get started on Found Objects, it has a pretty fun origin to it. I started with the typography because that's usually like my go-to to get started in my creative process. So I curated some typefaces that spoke to the content of the journal and were familiar to the contemporary publishing and editorial world. And for imagery, Found Object uses, you guessed it, some found objects around my creative workspace that I scanned and brought digitally into my workspace to create an overall composition. So I brought in my favorite coffee mug, some lined paper, and a water stain that kind of had this like interesting sort of looking clock sort of feature to it in the little like center spot. And I used that to create a repeating pattern. And as I worked on it more and more, it took on sort of a grander meaning to me about time, labor, and love that we all put into our creative work. And I felt like that spoke so clearly to the ethos of bravura and the pride that we all take in our creative endeavors. So when submissions opened, I knew this was one that y'all had to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I love it even more now. Okay, so I think we're going to pass the torch. Stacy, you want to?
Over to prose. Let me grab Amy. And so our prose section. Everyone disappears. And Amy's, there you are, my dear.
Hello and welcome. The prose committee was delighted to receive an immense amount of submissions this year, ranging from a few paragraphs to many pages in length. Each writer created entire worlds and unique characters within a limited page count. It was an honor to experience every word of these stories and to explore the minds of Palomar's own brilliant writers. Our large group of submissions made it very difficult to choose our winners, and the committee put many hours of work into picking whom to award. However, a few pieces stood out among this group of amazing stories. Our award-winning authors are ones who we felt not only crafted a story filled with imagination, authentic characters, and brilliant plots, but wrote stories that brought the reader along and invited them to grow alongside the characters. We hope that you will open your mind to our award winners and allow yourself to be changed by their words as we have also been. Beginning with our high school winner, we have Lizzie Borden Took an Axe, written by Summer Agron. This author walked the line between historical fiction and horror. At such an early age, they show an astounding control and mastery over their craft. They not only bring together a children's nursery rhyme and thrilling plot, but do so in a thoughtful way that brings Lizzie Borden to life. And here is Summer.
Hello. So as you heard, my name is Summer Agron, and I'm a freshman at Mission Vista High School. Fiction has always been a really vital part of my existence, which is part of the reason why I'm so honored to have my short historical fiction piece, Lizzie Borden Took an Axe, selected as Best High School Prose in this year's edition. As a young kid, I would pass the time by riding my bike in circles in my driveway, and out loud, I would make up stories and tell them to myself. From the outside, I definitely sounded a little bit crazy, but on the inside, that was really important to me. It was my lifeblood. There's a vital part of my being that requires to be expressed through poetry and prose. More recently than my elementary school pastime, I took a creative writing class at my high school. It isn't an exaggeration to say that this class changed my life for the better. Through it, I connected with some of the most important people in my life, two of whom, Sophia Dejoux and Skylar Bransford, also have work featured in this magazine. Beyond these two friends, I would also like to thank my parents and my teacher, Ms. Sorosky. One of the many projects in this class that meaningfully expanded my creative writing skills was The Final, a short historical fiction story. For this, I chose an infamously unsolved double axe murder immortalized in a children's nursery rhyme as the inspiration. My interpretation of the events of this unsolved case are narrated in this story, an excerpt from which I will read without further ado. The small part of my mind that still belongs to logic tells me to collect myself, that I am a grown woman. But like a single leaf forging a mighty river, all sane thoughts are washed away. Is it possible to drown without water? It must be, for I am drowning. All of hope's melodies are muted by the tidal wave that breaks over my broken body. One after another, they crash until the midnight of the ocean's deepest secrets is all I have ever known, all I will ever know. In the space of a single breath, the surface comes back into view. Within the universe that is my mind, I claw upward, viciously tearing myself from the depths. Emerging from the ocean's chokehold and out into the air is a rebirth. I come up spluttering, coughing invisible water from my lungs. An epiphany washes over me as the ocean dries itself from my newly lightened limbs. I must kill them. Mr. and Mrs. Borden must die, and their deaths must be at my own hands. For the first time in my life, I know the meaning of inner peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. And now get ready for a shift in tone from the mayhem of Lizzie Borden to a newfound peace. Our third place award goes to Joseph Vitelli, the author of Sunset in Birmingham, Alabama. This piece touched the committee on a fundamental level. We discussed at length how it goes beyond what one would describe as a story and becomes a tangible experience. The use of language, metaphors, imagery, and pure imagination transports the reader to a beautiful place that carries a gentle air of bittersweet summer. And here is Joseph to tell you more.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I didn't prepare a speech or anything, but I'll just say this piece, when I sat down to write it, I honestly was not in the mood to write. I didn't want to do it. But I started, and probably like 25 minutes in, I kind of like hit a rhythm and really enjoyed it. It took me about an hour and a half, and I put it away for a little bit and then went back to try and do some revisions. And I honestly felt like anytime I tried to switch it up, I felt like I was just messing it up. So I just left it. So this is my first and only draft of it. Pretty much it was based off of a photo that I saw of Birmingham, Alabama at sunset in the 70s. And, I typically, when I write, like to find just some little kernel of inspiration, whether it's like a photograph or a certain line, and then I'll kind of build off of that, kind of like finding the embers of a fire and blowing on them until it kind of organically comes together. So that's the background of the writing of it, and I'll just read it. Sunset in Birmingham, Alabama. The sun was setting, dipping slowly toward the horizon, painting the evening in a hazy creamsicle glow. Shadows crept like smoke out of the forest on either side of the highway, inevitably reclaiming the earth as the day burned away. It was the time of day that brings on a rush of nostalgia, connecting us simultaneously to the past, the present, and the future. A warmth like the first hit of heroin, a fuzzy, muted happiness that wells up from the recesses of forgotten moments. Our father's outstretched arms beckoning bravery as we jump into the deep end of the community pool, trading away the banana-flavored runts in exchange for the strawberry or cherry as we lay on our towels, baking in the summer sun. The memories come fast. The memories come hard and fast. They're all there for the taking, but only for an instant. A Pontiac Grand Am sped by, breaking the summer spell. In the passenger seat, a brunette in oversized glasses cupped and flattened her hand, tracing patterns in the air. Her bandana fluttered in the wind. The smell of asphalt and petroleum hung in the air, evidence of the road crew who'd patched up potholes on this stretch the day before. They'd done a shoddy job, half-heartedly packing down the viscous sludge with the broadside of their shovels as they joked in southern drawls and killed a 30 rack of light beer. That was yesterday, under the noontime sun. There was nothing exceptional about those men. There was nothing exceptional about those hours. They'd soon be lost to time, forgotten by their creators, existing only in crooked lines of dark, sticky asphalt. The evening was still as a corpse, and the humidity was oppressive. Somewhere nearby, an army of katydids scratched out their songs in bursts like coded messages. The sun loomed fat and large on the horizon, radiating the day's last light, bathing the world in a golden amber hue. For a moment, we exist in the twilight space between day and night, between life and death. We share a moment outside of time. We try to hold it, but it slips through our fingers like golden liquid. We stick out our thumbs as a Volkswagen bus putters by. Its occupants are blotchy charcoal outlines in the failing light. The cherry of a cigarette flickers to life and leaves a trail as they pass by. The scent of tobacco lingers long after the bus is gone. The sun disappears, burning beyond the edge of the world in defiance of its setting as the tendrils of the night wrap themselves around a sleepy southern town. Darkness swallows the world. It is full and complete. We pat our bodies as if to check on our continued existence as errant headlights buzz past en route to far-off places. Our destination is unknown to us, but still we continue on. The end.
Great work, Joseph. Thank you so much for reading for us tonight. Congratulations on your award. You did a great job.
Thanks to everybody.
Next, we're going to move on to the second place winner. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here with us tonight, but the second place award goes to Escaping the Rattlesnake's Venom by Mary V. This piece was a story that stuck with the committee long after we finished reading it. It creates a very detailed world, a detailed narrative, all in a short amount of pages with a nerve-wracking plot line. It made us want more from the ending, yet we were scared of what would happen if the pages continued. So congratulations to Mary on her second place award for prose. Finally, moving on to our first place award, we are going to give that to the story Sea Glass by Angelica Torres. Congratulations, Angelica. This is an incredibly heart-wrenching and beautiful piece. It's both extremely relevant to our current time period, and yet it is still timeless. It mirrors the reality of our current world of struggling with COVID-19 in the past few years and following the protagonist through their own struggles. We have her with us tonight, so she's going to share for a few moments about her piece. Take it away, Angelica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angelica. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my piece. So I actually wrote it from personal experience. I did work throughout the pandemic for about 4 years as a nurse assistant. So I spent a lot of time around nurses, and I feel like all the characters in the story are, of course, their names are changed for privacy reasons, but they were a lot of people that I personally knew. And sorry, I have a lot of anxiety. But again, I feel like it was a story that not many would have written just because the truth is a little harder in the end. I do think that it's something that needs to be brought to everyone's attention, just because healthcare workers did go through a very hard period of time. Thank you, everyone. And so I think it's good to have a better insight on healthcare workers and their mindset and how the pandemic has affected them. And I think that's something that not everybody really takes into mind. When you take into the hospital, you assume that everybody is there to take care of you, but healthcare workers also at times need to be taken care of as well. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you for sharing, Angelica. That really brings a lot more meaning to the piece. I'm so glad you got to share some of your heart on writing this. And thank you so much for everything you've done for the past couple of years working with COVID and serving those in need. We really do appreciate it. So the final award we have to award from the Prose Committee tonight is to the Editors Award, which is chosen the Roland Trujillo Editor's Choice Award for Prose. And this is a story that's written by a Bravura editor and submitted to the journal. And this year's winner creates incredible emotion, really draws the reader in with the detailed imagery, and leaves the audience with the last few lines with a big sense of hope and gratitude. So congratulations to our very own Amy DeLuna for her piece, Sunlight in the Doorway. I'm going to hand it over to Amy as she finishes it off tonight.
Thank you, Clarity. My name is Amy and I wrote Sunlight in the Doorway. The idea for this story came from a prompt in Professor Trujillo's creative writing class last semester. The class was asked to describe the first time they felt like an adult, and many people talked about getting their driver's license and their first paychecks, and I hadn't had any of those experiences. So instead, I wrote about the first day I spent alone at my hospital. So when the opportunity to submit to Bravura came up, I worked off of this idea. So this story is mine in more ways than one. I am the author, but it is also based on my own life experiences of dealing with cancer as a teenager. I knew from the beginning I didn't want to sugarcoat cancer, but I wanted to show the real and raw side that I know well. And for me, a large part of that was showing the confusion that comes with growing up into adulthood under the label of a sick kid. I wanted to show the real way that cancer turns the passing of time into a privilege instead of a right. And more than anything, I hope this story resonates with those that have walked a similar path and those who haven't. Growing up is scary for everyone, but to live one more year enjoying the sunlight is a privilege, and I hope we never take it for granted. I hope you'll read the full piece, but for now I wanted to share this scene. For context, our protagonist is watching as Benny, another boy on the oncology floor, has just rung the end of treatment bell after finishing treatment for a bone marrow transplant. She is left to reckon with her feelings of jealousy and question once more what growing up means to her. She stood in the doorway and watched as sparkling confetti landed on Benny's shoulders, and he rang the bell with an embarrassed grin. While he took pictures with his family, she clung to her IV pole to keep her nerve-damaged knees from giving out. She was incredibly happy for him, this stranger she'd never met, because although they walk different paths, the pain that comes with cancer is universal. She understood what this moment meant, so much so that she couldn't help the lump that formed in her throat. The ugly jealousy that came with each ring of the bell, not of Benny and his path to reach the end, but to know one more person had come and gone while she was still there. A ridiculous longing forming deep in her chest to be in his place, just for today, because she saw herself in him, in the way his port scar peeked out from under the collar of his shirt, just as hers often did, the dark circles under his eyes that matched hers, the look of fatigue that could only come from days on end in a sterile hospital room, in the way he walked with a slight limp, like he wasn't quite sure where his foot would land. And although they wore their hospital bracelets on opposite wrists, the paper was identical in its wear and tear, each of them having gone through hospital baths and hand washings, potent sanitizers and adhesives. The bracelets themselves are a testament to their long stays, secret badges of honor among them for what they had endured. And although she wore a head wrap and he wore a cap, she knew that beneath it hid a bald head that mirrored hers. They were so similar, each betrayed by the very cells that were meant to protect them, and each here fighting for just one more turn around the sun. In another life, they might have been friends, but here, today, they had been separated by nothing more than a thin hospital wall and a bell. Benny would go on to a life beyond the hospital, the confines of the hospital. He would grow up to do all the things she never did. He would take driver's ed. He'd get a job to pay for a prom ticket. He would look back on pictures of this day and smile. They were just like each other, and that made the pain in her chest burn just a little deeper. To know that if things had been a bit different, maybe she would be ringing the bell today too. Their stories were so alike, but his ending left him walking towards a timid freedom and left her in the empty hallway, smile wide and eyes burning as one more person had come and finished while she was still there, still standing in the doorway between health and cancer, still clinging to the IV pole for dear life, both afraid to let go and afraid she would never be able to. And that's it. Thank you. So that brings us to an end for the Pros Committee. We thank you for your time and attention as we celebrate our winners. And now we will pass it off to the Visual Committee.
Thank you, Amy and Clarity. So I believe we are waiting for a slideshow, right?
Yes, I think so, but I think I'll get this intro going. And so, yeah, so definitely with the Visual Committee, we were very fortunate to receive submissions from some very talented artists across many disciplines this year, from painting, collage, and digital media to photography, sculpture, ceramics, and fashion design. We had no shortage of unique and thoughtful work, and we were thankful to everyone who submitted. And so we'll probably give a couple minutes. Let's see. So we should have a video of the visual arts in this selection coming up pretty soon. But for the most part, it was kind of hard because, yeah, we had a great variety in our visual submissions. So we couldn't include everything, but it was all very thoughtful and wonderful.
And here is that montage that I got.
Thank you, Stacey.
That should work. There we go.
Aston Martin King, Luther with dreams. The young Denzel, the way I move through scenes. I'm like a preacher that once was a fiend. A story of change that came with wings. Pretty is the skyline, the sky is my eyeline. Son of the most, so from up high I shine. Suited in Prada, stay mellow like Lala. Young fresh with dollars, ladies go gaga. I'm the cum laude. top of the class. Black Wall Street, so my stock will never crash. Giving what I ask, pure religion and cash. For the windows that open, I'm raising my glass. Daylight beams, nightlife schemes. This is my inception, I'm writing my dreams. Immortal view of a star doing what I'm born to do. I see the blue sky, say the Lord's coming through. It all started with a dream. I wanted to be Run DMC. The Lord put the blessing upon DMC. O to the M, dreams were spoken to him. That's when I knew my flows would overflow to the rim. Open my eyes, yes sir, this is what I'm made for. To go hard in the paint like D Wade or D Rose. From the same streets that we rose. International heroes at world primos. Red carpet magic, taking pictures with the president. Total for healthcare, my music is the medicine. My name holds weight, I am never hesitant. Different state resident, this is hood elegance. SLS classic, pursuing my passion. Known for fashion, now I'm Oscar party crashing. Immortal view of a star doing what I'm born to do. I see the blue sky, say the Lord's coming through. Coming through, coming through, coming through, coming through. Silhouettes of dreams that we had high. Even now it don't seem so bad, ma. Close my eyes to see things in front of me. I'm gone now, imagine what I'm gonna be. Dirty to worthy, now I'm all worthy. But brought up in Paris, looking all purdy. Immortal view of a star doing what I'm born to do. I see the blue sky, say the Lord's coming through. Yeah. So loud, get 'em high.
Wouldn't take that long to get me there. Keep running till I can go. But all of the beautiful things that life could give me. Crazy how I'm the one. Could have been anywhere, but I'm sitting in the air with the wheels up, staring at the sun. Oh, in the sky we'll find the light. Oh, ain't too high, we'll shine at night. We'll be in the sky.
All right, so selecting this from this group was no easy task. I mean, you saw that we had a lot of great stuff. However, there were a few pieces of work that we felt stood out. Firstly, with our high school winner, and Tidro from Mission Hills High School earned the High School Visual Arts Award for her metalwork sculpture, ADHD Awareness, Part 1 and 2. So this functions as a diptych, and so this was a unanimous decision in selecting Anne's piece, not only for its technical skill, but its message and how wonderful it is as a work of art overall. Right, and so unfortunately, Anne is not. Is Anne here? Oh, sorry. So we'll.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll have Anne talk about her stuff in a moment.
Hello. Yeah. As said, my name is Anne Pedro. I'm currently a junior at Mission Hills High School. And what inspired my piece is originally it was a school project in my middle school class where we had to do a social issue. And so when we started, I noticed that there wasn't a very much popular art on ADHD, other than a sculpture by Hong Kong by an artist named Lulu. His sculpture was basically just a black sphere, and that really inspired me because it was something so simple but represented so many different feelings that can be felt by somebody with ADHD. So this was the driving factor behind the entire shape of my project, and I ADHD felt all that. I'm so sorry. This inspired me to make individual pieces of wire, something that you could feel and would bring attention to what you were feeling and would hopefully calm somebody down and help them focus more on if they were doing tasks. And something about this that I did personally like was that it did make noises when using it. So yes, that is the inspiration behind mine. And thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anne, and beautiful work, definitely.
My
And
bad for
now,
pressing a button and it went forward, but those two, in case it wasn't clear by the two slides, I tried to put them on one and it just looked weird. It's two separate images. It's actually a full spread in the print edition of Bravura. So something to look forward to next week. We're very proud of you. Thank you.
Ray, thank you once again. And so we have another beautiful piece right in front of us. And now we'd like to showcase Fishtail by Zeta Green, winner of the third place award for the visual arts. Green's intricate detail and color combination between the scales of the pot and plant created harmony and balance that gave us an undeniable sense of peacefulness. Yeah, and it's a great composition overall as well. All right. And then this is our second place for the visuals. And it goes to Rebecca Schnell for her photograph Paper Planes. So we found this image, which is a darkroom print created from 35mm film, especially compelling for its dynamic composition, tonal range, and dreamlike quality that transported us into flight. And it's got a great flow as well. All right. And last but not least is our first place a piece awarded to Wendy Drummond for her ceramic sculpture, Eternal. So when we saw Wendy's piece, it was immediately clear the skill, care, and thoughtfulness that went into creating the strong yet fragile work. And unfortunately, Wendy isn't feeling well today, but she did ask us to read read to you a little bit about her work. Okay, and so Morgan, take it away, please.
All right, so what Wendy had to say about this piece, she says, "My piece Eternal is another in a series of technically challenging sculptures I tend to gravitate toward creating. I feel there must be an inner masochist trying to get out, and she bursts forth when I get my hands on clay. I enjoy pushing the boundaries of what clay is able to achieve, and luckily I'm not afraid of failure, which there are many. Clay is a terrific medium for the practice of enjoying the process, not the final outcome. Eternal represents the metamorphosis from pliable to rigid, from free form to fixed, and represents the continual growth and change as we enter different stages of life and personal development. Each spike reaches forth and tells a story of its creation and holds a history of the forces that have acted on it along the way."
All right. And thank you very much, Morgan, for reading on Wendy's behalf.
So next, our Editor's Choice Visual Award was awarded to Shinchi Evans for his photograph Floating House. And Shinchi, would you please tell us about this piece?
Of course, thank you. And so this is actually my second piece published in Bravura. I previously published a similar piece in last year's edition as someone who just simply submitted. And this year I submitted as someone on the staff of Bravura. And both pieces pretty much are part of my pandemic response of trying to get photographs of things that are very ordinary, but yet well composed. And so I just walked around my suburban neighborhood near Qualcomm Stadium. I see all kinds of things. And so here it's just trying to see something, kind of special in what might be otherwise an everyday thing for me. So I just saw this house, which also looks, which kind of mirrors the suburban houses, in my neighborhood, and the palm trees, which are all over San Diego, Southern California. And so I got them here, but I also got to play with positive and negative space in this photo as well. So those are all very important things to me, but also too, this one was also one where I think my technical skill as a photographer is also, and compositional skill as a photographer have grown over the past couple of years. And I definitely did enjoy, submitting this and a couple of other photographs to Bravura, and I'm really happy to see this published. And thank you. It's an honor to be awarded the editor's choice for this photograph.
Thank you. It's always so nice to be able to hear more about people's work. I mean, whether it's the writing or imagery, it's always great to know, the other depths of the work. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to put my presenter hat back on and just close this one with, before we move on to poetry, we'd like to thank everyone who submitted and offer a huge congratulations for everyone's work accepted. And as I said before, it was pretty hard because a lot of you did give us some pretty great work, and we only had so much space for it. So thanks, everyone. Right. And now on to the poetry committee.
All right. Thank you, Shen. So, coming from the visual, poetry may be our second oldest art. The power and immanence of words and form never ceases to convey a depth of emotion always unfound in daily life. And yet simultaneously, it is always present. Our poets bring to the forefront their world and experiences, and they give to us something of ourselves. This year's poetry committee was composed of a group of very talented people, and they were all joined by their love of this art.
We'd like to thank every single person who poured their heart and soul into their submissions. And we want most of all to congratulate and highlight the incredible talent fostered here on the Palomar campuses. It is always with great difficulty that we pick from the vine those grapes we deem the sweetest. And we'd like to express here the immense appreciation and gratitude we have for all of this year's submissions. And without further ado, let's introduce some of this year's Poetry Award winners.
All right. So first, we would like to congratulate one of our favorite and most prolific young writers, Emma Wong, and her piece, Butterfly Bile. As the winner of the High School Poetry Prize, Emma's poem blew us away with its phenomenal use of imagery, concise structure, and fearless honesty, all while displaying a wit far beyond the years of its teenage author. And unfortunately today, we do not have a live reading or recording of it, but we have a presentation of it for you to see. It's a very short piece, it's very powerful, and it's very moving. So next, I would like to introduce the third place award winner for poetry this year, and that's going to be Lucille Pohl's The Car. Lucille's piece definitely stood out to all of our editors as an excellent and powerful piece, highlighting the speaker's experiences with transience and nomadology. The excellent narrative direction and personality give this piece a uniqueness that we want to showcase here today. And we have Lucille, I think, on a video that we can show for reading.
Oh.
Hello, Bravura. I am so honored to be here and to be picked to be in your 2022 edition. I've looked at some of the work of past issues and I'm just blown away by the talent, so I'm just incredibly grateful and humbled. I want to give a shout out to Professor Young in psychology department. She is the one that inspired me to submit my writing and in her psychology class. Thank you so much, Professor, for the encouragement. You've asked us all to talk about our writing process. So for me, the process usually starts outside. I look at my view here and I think of a topic and I use my phone, my Samsung. There's a section called Notes. And I just start to let the words speak. And I don't try to edit at first, I just let it flow. You get into that state, kind of like a meditative state. For this particular poem, The Car, I wrote it while I was in Dr. Young's class, and we were doing a lot of nature versus nurture and kind of like reflection about our lives. And so that's where it started, was kind of reflecting on things that I dealt with when I was younger. And the car was a big part of that summer when I was homeless. And so I decided to like make that the central character, so to speak, and then the different things that happened around the car. And so that's how that particular poem came to be.
Great. And then next, I'd like to introduce the second place award winner this year, Amelia Oxrar, for her poem, The Pickup Artist. Here's a piece imbued with energy, voice, and style that every one of our editors loved and picked up on. Amelia has consistently given herself to Bravura as an extremely talented artist with full control over her style and a wonderfully unique mode of expression. And Amelia is actually here to read her poem for us. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, Bravura was a huge part of my time at Palomar, and I'm so glad to be back here with a lot of familiar faces. I don't really have anything prepared to say about my poem. Basically, a man hit on me in public, and I decided to write a poem about it. Oh God, why me? Maybe he just needs directions. Ugh, not with that smile. Nope, not directions at all. I just wanted to ask, oh God, if you believe in love at first sight. No, take the hint. Well, I see you like Pete's. Oh God, maybe we could get to know each other. I should throw this mug in a bush, deny it ever existed, deny I'd ever stepped foot in a Pete's. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty busy. Take the hint. The next few weeks. Take the hint. No, sorry. Take the hint. No, not my Instagram either. Take the hint. Why me? Was my walk too meek, looking like I was lacking the confidence of his compliments? Or were my eyes too blue and visible in contrast with the mask that hid the rest of my face? Or was it my crow's feet, creasing as I squinted in the sun the same way they would in a smile? Or why me? Was I just a pawn to practice with, gotta master the game, a target to take down, a Sarge, another bitch who wasn't worth his time, devalue, disrobe, discard?
Thank you so much, Amelia. That was great. And so our next poet is the first place winner of the Angelo Carli Poetry Prize for this year, Catherine Sinclair, for her poem Logic, part of a larger piece highlighted in this year's Bravura. In her piece, Sinclair exemplifies an excellent control and mastery of form, offering her logic and emotion with precision, clarity, and style. Continually subverting editors' expectations, Sinclair offers us a wonderfully constructed poem that lends itself to numerous personal and broad insights, offering us something new on every read. Thank you. And then, yeah, Catherine is here to read her poem for us.
Hi, thank you. Wow, this is amazing. It's so cool to be here and to see everybody's work. That was the first thing I wanted to say. And so thank you for choosing me as first place. I'm just blown away by this. So, so about the poem, well, about me first. My name is Kat. I graduated from Palomar a few years ago, and I'm currently in my third year at CSUSM, focusing on literature writing studies and with a minor in biology. The poem that I have for you today is called Logic, and it was actually inspired by an assignment for a class, a creative writing class, which focused on open space poetry, in which the blank space on the page is used to create pauses and meaning. And beyond this, I kind of toyed with like a double helix layout in later iterations because I thought that would kind of work with the content. But Logic was intended to be kind of a marriage of science and literature. So in my own world, my own mind, I had kept these two worlds extremely separate. I told myself that there was really no place for the logical scientific mind in the creative world and vice versa. And as I kind of studied biology further, I can tell you that's it's limiting and it's not true. Science is beautiful and it can be expressed in a multitude of different ways in a plethora of different mediums. And I think we've seen a lot of that previously too, from visual and prose and creative. But I don't think I had considered the creativity of both science and its subdisciplines. So, I mean, we have a lot of science in our daily lives. Mixing color before a painting is an example of a chemical physical change. Using a computer to render a piece of art is a use of extensive technology in mathematics. Simply existing and imagining a beautiful thought or a painful one is a chemical process. So Logic uses language that is found in chemistry, but also it seeks to examine how learning and education can be integrated into our own lives. It seeks to enmesh both worlds into something that can be appreciated through writing. So I will go ahead and read it for you. It's relatively short. We are all carbon-based life forms, floating in an extensive universe, an open expanse of dead space, the atmosphere of eternity without another being, the emptiness of darkness so thorough, it is the same as closing your eyes. A human soma can experience dead space, in which the gas exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide ceases. The alveoli close, locking the gasp inside the lungs. When a carcass rots, the chemical released is called an amine, a mixture of putrescine and cadaverine, a functional group for a dysfunctional chemical, a chemical that creates termination. When you taste sour, it is a carboxylic acid. When you taste saccharin, it produces serotonin, which chicanes your mind into bliss strong and warm. You can get serotonin syndrome from the heady, absolving bliss that overtakes your mind and transforms it into a soupy mess of joy and causes an inability to close your eyes and rest your joyful mind. Wakefulness. How much sweet did I eat? How much sleep will I miss? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kat, for sharing. Yeah, that's amazing. So unique. Unlike anything I've ever read before. So it was amazing getting to see your stuff. And then finally, we have the Rollins Trujillo Editor's Choice Award for Poetry, which goes to Alex Farrow for his poem Flit. Dreamlike and full of intoxicating imagery, Flit is certainly a standalone piece we're all very proud is included in this year's Bravura, and very much deserving of the Editor's Choice Award. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you, Magellan. I don't really have anything prepared to say specifically about the piece, but I do want to acknowledge and thank all the editors in Bravura, right? Because this is a piece that we all worked on. This is a piece that we would workshop in Bravura, and we host many workshops for a lot of people here today. And I just want to say, like, as it came into being, like, there is some kind of something of every Bravurian, every person in the poetry committee in here that helped to contribute and flesh out this piece and contributed to making it in the way it is today. And so I guess I'll read it. It's not so long. And this one's called Flit. And all lost in air that winds, cannot enunciate. Her face now traces in silver alongside the moon. Each time we are caught in the burning of new memory, faint and all. And it's all too familiar, all that there is to recognize. And as spoken, the years they pass as their instances, gone from the resemblances that we once wore. Then our likenesses enwined and laid in gold and clear in mind. Ah, now what little there is. Terms of ourselves, our invocations, the outlines of the others that we may see. Once I saw 2 lovers burning in the dusk. Once, all sudden, I had forgotten our meeting. It's true, I have never known while being whole. Life communes and I am left lost. And the forms race and rest someplace in the stillnesses of mind without. And their sounds all tremble in residence. Evening, pale, lance-like the smoke leaves, the stars fall of the sky as air, and winds and times and days of small beauty, fluting in our thought, even now.
Beautiful. Thank you all so far. Let's do the other thing, Stacy. I was listening to the readings kind of like I missed Kat's transitioning between the 2 pages because I was distracted by the presentation, which I guess is probably a good thing. With that being said, we are there you are, Claire. We just wanted, well, the editors actually had wanted to do the wrap up for our gala. So thank you all for being here and putting up with the slow tech possibilities, but again, the world of Zoom. And just to reiterate, we'll send a follow-up email to everyone that's here, for the registration about getting this beautiful journal in person. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop sharing and put the editors on. If I say it out loud, it's easier, right? Boop. Claire, if you want to help me click editors, that would be super helpful.
Oh, sure. And then also I was gonna say that we'll have one last little wrap up and then feel free to stay behind for Q&A or general discussion. And we're spotlighting all of our fantastic editors. So
this sounds like it's super, this takes, like this is it going fast. So if, well, we'll just, going back together. All right, if anybody, we will keep adding. Nope.
And I think we could probably turn it over to the editors.
Yes.
To wrap things up as we continue to spotlight your beautiful faces.
Thank you, guys. The main thing that we wanted to do as editors was to take a moment to thank Professor Rollins and Trujillo for all the work that they do to make this class available to us. Without their willingness to put in hours of planning and with late nights proofreading, emailing, formatting, and patience navigating the purgatorial cycle of Zoom updates, none of us would have been able to have this experience. It feels really special to be able to say that we've participated from start to finish in the publication of a literary journal. Thank you, professors, for everything you do to make this class available to us. We appreciate you.
We want to hear the clapping, right?
Well, thank you. We're
officially embarrassed by your praise.
Yeah, and we warned you that we don't take compliments well. Even
No.
Claire and I, even from each other, we just have a nice off, and that's. But we, well, I guess.
Which is kind of our cue to say that all of that, no, it's the editors that put everything together. It's student run from start to finish. You guys are amazing. And Bravura is the students. And we couldn't be luckier. You guys are incredible. So, thank you right back. Take that. Thank you so much.
And take Bravura English 137 next spring.
Yeah, this kind of segues into,
shameless self-promotion. We will do
shameless
it.
self-promotion. Yeah, you can take this as a class. You get 4 units. It's transferable to Cal State. You learn about a million things depending on what you want to learn of the publishing and editing process.
And you make a book.
Which we can distribute next week.
Yes.
Listen to Sinjin. He says, best class I've ever been in. There you go. Testament.
Pretty ringing endorsement.
And
I guess just because I can't reiterate enough, just and thank you to, there's so many people on campus that make this class and possible, like a lot of people here today, and then some that will be watching this recording online. Like Rocco
Rocco Versace. He's amazing.
I mean, Bravura wouldn't be anything like it wouldn't be anything without his just fantastic and
brilliance,
and also patience with us asking kind of basic questions. And even though Claire and I have been doing this since 2019, I'll still be like, so when do I send that form in? And he'll very patiently respond. So obviously we very much appreciate that. And he advocates for English 137 as a class. And this goes out to the department. Like Leanne is every large department meeting, she presents Bravura's out there. And so I think that's even taking the personal side away from it. Like, I think that's so important to get these journals out there and circulating, because it's such a fabulous showcase of all of like the Palomar community's amazing talent. And it's that the journals come together so well, and we have so many awesome pieces in it is because, again, we have the talent here. And as I start to mumble my words there, but again, and also can't forget President's Associates. Thank you so much for continuing
Thank you so much.
Yes, for continuing to support this and making it available, because the print editions are free for students and for the community, and that's what they're there for. And I think that is kind of the icing on the cake, that we're able to produce a professional level publication and give it to students free access. So thank you. And I'm going to remove all the spotlights now, unless Claire, did you have any?
Just thank you so much for coming. Go to bravurajournal.org, and you'll be hearing from us about how to receive the print copy, which we'll have an in-person distribution next week, and we'll tell you more about that. And then you can also receive copies in the mail free of charge. So we'll be also sending you information about that. So there you go. And thank you so much. And bravo to everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Hey, we actually hear the clapping now.
Yay, I'll do it really loud.
I always do the silent clap and then hope someone can see the video.
Yay!
But
cool.
Fabulous.
Thank you. Should we stop recording officially?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.